hearts of the West. It's cowboy poetry, Western musicians, singers, and songwriters. And at the end, I have a little video clip where the two performers that were on the showcase answer a couple of questions for me. Now, you can always opt out. You don't have to do this, but I do appreciate it if you do answer these questions and send me in a quick video clip. I think you're going to enjoy it, so stick around. Now, before I get started with anything, I want to give a quick shout out to a few people. Number one, Michael Hull, hat artisan at Woodbine. Check out this hat. I love this hat. Isn't it killer? Look at this. He shaped this for me. My husband bought this for me. I must have done something right, okay? Because this cost a good chunk of change. I just love this hat, man. I love this hat. I also want to give a little shout out to Lynn Kopelke back here on my west wall. There is his 2021 calendar. Now he's a very talented painter, and he has all of his paintings in this calendar. You got to get this calendar. He'll be glad to take your money and send one to you, all right? Also, I got a little shout out for, oh, look who's here. That's my Susie Knight. She's a good friend, and she's an extremely talented lady. She's got some songs out. She's got some new songs out. She's got a new CD out, too. Turn 'em loose. You got to get it, folks. Turn 'em loose, because Susie does. She turns it loose in this. You're going to enjoy it. And I also want to thank Bobby Jean Bell and her husband Jim at Out West Shop. They have lots of nice, you can't believe the things that they have. They have coats, jackets, scarves, anything, blankets, pillows, everything. Late at night, I can't go out and shop, so late at night, I'm scrolling on my phone, looking at what Out West Shop has. So thank you, Bobby Jean and Jim. Appreciate it. Oh, got Floyd Beard right over here, too. Very talented cowboy poet. Now, I usually start off with one of my own poems, but today I'm going to recite from a book of a very good friend of mine. Her name is Victoria Jackson, and it's called Spinster Tips. And it's the stuff our mamas never warned us about. And boy, is she right. And it's good. And it's just so true. It's all just so true. Let's see. What do we have here? How about emotions? Be pretty, smart, and handy. You need to be self-reliant to survive. The days you feel like crying but have no shoulder to lean on, honey, wipe those tears. And emotions, be damned. That's pretty much the spirit of a Western woman, right? And you're not a bronc rider. Drink the coffee, smoke the cigarettes, and don't take stock in people that judge you. They're not paying your entry fees. Now, listen to the spinster. She knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's talking about. Let's see, I'll give you something else real quick. And this is titled, Pick Your Shot. Life is like the branding track. Sometimes you catch the prize-winning bull that you were aiming for, and the rest of the time, you're throwing a log. Other times, you hope you won't end up catching the most hard-headed, scruffiest-looking, fence-busting idiot in the herd. Well, there you go. Listen to Spinster, Victoria Jackson. She's on Instagram and Facebook. And she also will be glad to take your money and send you one of these books. It's great. It's a quick read. I've given these out to friends of mine as gifts. Now, let's get to the showcase. I want to thank you all for coming, because I enjoy knowing that you're out there watching me, and let's get those views going. I post on 3 social medias. I post on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I put on a new showcase every week. I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of good friends that contribute their talents to this. And I'm very fortunate and share them with all of you. All right, folks. That's enough from Casey LaCourse. And I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another video showcase on the Hearts of the West. See you.
Well, howdy, folk. I'm Ol Jim Cathey from deep in the heart of Texas. And today is Monday, the 20th of April. And it's the second day of Cowboy Poetry Week. The poem I'm going to use today, you'll hear me refer back to my great-grandpa, James Allen Weathers, and to my granddad, Papa Hop, James Hobson Weathers. Those two men were a big influence in my life because they were Western men and they lived by the Western code. Now, the poem I'm doing is called That Old Tally Book. And it was a poem that I did to compliment a painting by Marlis Fellows. Marlis Fellows is a Western artist from Cave Creek, Arizona. And her painting that year that she called A Cowboy's Journal was the poster painting for the Arizona Cowboy Poetry Gathering in 2013. And I was honored to be able to recite this poem at that gathering. That Old Tally Book. We nooned where we could find some shade. My old pony sure needed a blow. There's plenty of daylight left, so we'll rest up a spell, and then we'll go. I reached in my saddlebag, drawed out an old tally book. The pages were dog-eared and worn. Opened the cover to take a look. It had sketches of brands and such that had been seen here on this range, and a poem or two scratched here and there about stories that would never change. Those stories were about my great-grandpa's hard, rugged life in days of old. That book carried a history of his life with the amazing stories that it told. That old gent had brought the word of the Lord to the folks that had settled this land. He married a few and buried a few with the Bible held in his hand. He gave that book to Papa Hop, who was a rancher at that time. He used that same old tally book, though it was sort of past its prime. I grew up on that Texas ranch with Papa Hop in his later years. He taught me what it took to be a man and just how to face my fears. Papa Hop gave me that book after he'd filled the pages some with things he'd done in his career and hard times he'd overcome. So now I sit, jot my notes, but often turn back the page to live again those yesteryears, a time that never seems to age. That old tally book has been through thick and thin. She totes quite a history, and some things would sure make you grin. But there's serious things too, like hard times and when things just went wrong. Of course, there's maps and lots of brands and words to a funeral song. But the real blessing from that old tally book is the stories from long ago and how the good Lord would guide their path and keep them safe from every foe. So now I sit and relish the silence as I scratch down another line and live again those yesteryears where my ancestors had left their sign. Thank you very much. I'm Ol Jim Cathey. Keep your powder dry. Well, howdy. I'm Ol Jim Cathey from deep and hard Texas. And I thank you for joining us today. I'd also like to thank KC LaCourse for giving us this opportunity. She asked a question. How did I discover that I could write cowboy poetry? Well, sir, I quit my day job back in 2007, and I couldn't even spell cowboy poetry. But my brother-in-law, Damon Stephen, asked me to read a few poems at a library fundraiser in Maybank, Texas. So I decided, I think I will memorize those poems, and I started out. I learned Reincarnation by Wallace McCrae. And then I did Tying Knots in the Devil's Tail by Gail Gardner. And I found that those poems were easy to learn, and I started working on some more to add to my list. I ended up my entry fee for the National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo put on by Sam Jackson. And I had opportunity to do a couple of poetry writing seminars. And in those seminars, I got some good advice. Sam DeLue taught me about meter and rhyme. C.R. Wood says, be yourself. Write about what you know, what you live. Ed Nesselhoff gave me pointers on keeping it short. Go back and trim. And of course, Sam Jackson continually said, edit, edit, edit. And then there was Linda Kirkpatrick. She looked at my poems, gave me some real good pointers. And Margot Metrogano, who constantly gave encouragement. Then there was Ol Jc Penney, my pard. He and his wife, Donna, and my young bride, Stella, started going to poetry gatherings in Texas and in the West. And we met many, many friends that we never would have met if we had not made this endeavor. And we thank the good Lord for those friends as we continue today. You know, I kept on trying to write and improve whatever work I had to do. I enjoyed it. And I started sending articles to the paper for the paper to publish. And they were kind enough to put my work in the paper. And Facebook has allowed me a chance to put some things on. But these gatherings that we went to, that's where you meet the people. You get a chance to perform. And you see other performers and their techniques. So, I suggest that as a writer, I suggest to other writers that they should write every chance they get, that they should listen to their mentors, and they should constantly thank the good Lord for the talent that He has given them. Because I consider my talent a God-given gift, and I thank the Lord for it. Now, Casey asked me another question. She wanted to know what was my favorite movie clip. Well, that was pretty easy because it had to come from Lonesome Dove. You know, in their first place, old Gus put a sign on the gate that said,
calling you if you can finish telling me what that clip was, what your favorite movie quote was about. You got as far as Gus Gate.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, it is Lonesome Dove.
Yeah.
And it starts out with at their place in Texas where Gus puts a sign on the gate that says, "We rent pigs."
Yeah.
But my favorite quote in that movie is after Captain Call had fought a cavalry sergeant who had been rude to his men up in Montana, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, Captain Call said, "I can't abide rudeness in a man.
I
won't
love that.
tolerate it."
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I know exactly what scene you're talking about. Yeah, it's classic. All right. I got it. I'm going to put this on the end of your video, and the world will see you all tomorrow morning with Gary Jc Penney on the showcase, all right?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I'll talk to you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Spring roundup was upon us, and 'twas time to cut and brand. We had lots of stock to work, so we needed every hand. But Coop had suffered broken ribs in an accidental fall, and Tex, he got sliced up when he got to a brawl. Things was looking pretty bleak for our working cowboy crew. That's when we approached the boss. Said, "What are we gonna do?" Boss said, "Not to worry. I've already found a hand. This old gal has been around, and you'll find she's worth her sand. To her, you're all just youngsters. But please, don't call her Granny. Boys, this lady's here to work. Now come and meet Miss Annie." The room grew deadly silent as she walked into our sight. Her hair was slightly graying, and her build was very slight. She calmly looked us over with her dark, commanding eyes. "I'm pleased to meet you, fellas. Now stop fretting about my size. I punched my share of cattle. My old nerves are made of steel. All I ask is your respect, and I'll help you head and heel." Well, it was early the next morning when Annie showed her pride. Her hat was big as Texas with a 6-gun by her side. Her whistle was the shrillest as we moved that stock about. She sailed her loops through the air without ever any doubt. Her lasso was amazing as she caught both heel and horn. You could tell she'd done this before most of us was born. Our work was quickly over with the roping of Miss Annie. Then Sam starts in a bragging. "Can't no one rope like Granny." Her anger was apparent as he pushed the envelope. She fired a shot into the air, and then she tied him with his rope. Old Sam lay there a-bawling like a helpless yearling calf. Our mouths was just a-gaping, but we dared not grin or laugh, for we'd all just learned a lesson from our good old partner Sam. You best respect your elders, and you call Miss Annie ma'am.
Two questions. Are you ready?
I hope I am.
Okay. Well, it's good talking to you. All right. The first question is, what's your favorite movie quote?
I don't know that I can quote it exactly, but
Okay.
I think it's the same one that Ol Jim Cathey liked from Lonesome Dove.
Oh, well. Yeah, there you go.
In fact, I was watching Lonesome Dove this morning when you called.
Oh, I love it. Love it. All right. What is it? Go ahead and throw it out there.
Something like, I can't stand bad behavior in a man. I won't tolerate it.
There you go. Right?
I don't know. I don't know if that's it completely, but it's something along that line anyway.
Well, man. That's it. That's great. Yeah, I've had a couple of performers classic line. Okay, and the second thank you. The second question I have for you is, when did you figure out or find out that you had a talent for writing and reciting and performing?
Well, that all happened quite by accident. There was a family member that was into cowboy poetry, and he was very straight-laced. He had no levity about him. And his sister came to me because I'm kind of off the wall sometimes.
Yes, I remember you in. I remember you in the skirt and the wig. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, his sister came to me and asked if I could write a poem for him that had a little more levity to it, that would produce a few smiles.
All
and
right.
I said, well, I haven't written anything since high school, but I'll give it a shot. So anyway, I wrote a poem for him. It wasn't the greatest poem in the world, of course, being my first one, but I wrote it, and I heard him recite it, and after I heard him recite it, I thought, I can do that too. I can probably do it a little better than what he did it since I wrote it. So with that, that started my cowboy poetry career, and I think that was in like 2005.
All right, great. Well, we're glad that you did that for him, because we're all sure appreciative of hearing your poetry. I love it, and I know you have lots of followers. All right, that is the 2 questions. I appreciate it. Now, y'all have a good day and try to stay warm where you're at. Okay?
Oh, we'll do it. Thanks, Casey. Appreciate what
all right.
you do.
Thank you, Gary. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.